Okay, good afternoon and welcome to the second edition ever of Shulchan Aruch Yomi. Today we're going to be learning Orach Chaim Siman Beis. I know you've all been waiting for this Siman Beis number 2. All the Gemaras start from Daf Beis. Shulchan Aruch actually starts from Siman Aleph. What's the explanation? It's for a different time. Let's get right into it. Siman Beis, Din Levishas Begadim. Halachas of wearing clothes. What clothes you're allowed to wear? How are you supposed to wear your clothes? Halacha Aleph, Lo Yilvash Chaluka Miyushav. Ela Yika Chaluka V'yachnis Bo Rosho V'Zrosa V'Zrosa Bodenu Shochev Imsak Shiakum Shehu Mekusa. Sounds like that when they go into sleep, or people when they go to sleep, they take off their shirts. This is what's going on over here. He's covered in his blanket. So it seems from the Shulchan Aruch, first of all, that people used to or you're allowed to go to sleep without a shirt. You have to wear some underwear or pants, but you wear it without a shirt, because the whole idea over here is that the Gemara it's based on a Gemara in Shabbos that one of the Tanaim, Daf Kuf Aleph, was praising himself that the walls of his house never saw his naked body. So therefore, you shouldn't sit up immediately when you get up in the morning. You should remain covered by your blanket and put on your shirt while you're lying down. So therefore, the walls of your house should never see. You should never be exposed. Your body should never be exposed. You should always be covered. This is, and the same thing applies when you're going to sleep. The post can explain that you should cover your body and take your shirt off while your body is covered. I don't know how many people follow this. It seems like Lo Yilbash is an Isser in the Shulchan Aruch. Now, the Mefarshim bring, the Taz brings over here, the source for this. Isa beperakol kisvei kofi of Yud Ches. I'm sorry, in Shalom and Beis. Amar Yosim Yamay Laro Koros Beisi Imri Chaluki. Perish Atur Sfas Chaluko. Says he was praising himself. Now it's a little hard to understand. He's just praising himself. This is a Tana, a big tzaddik. Doesn't seem that among the other things in the Gemara is saying the tzaddikim, the big things over there, they should get extra reward for that. It doesn't mean that for everybody it's a chiyuv to do that. So it seems from the Shulchan Aruch you have to. Magen Avram brings a Gemara in Baba Basra, Chalak Shel Talmid Chacham L'Shem Saro Nira Smi Tacht of Tefach. Again, a Talmid Chacham. Not everyone's a Talmid Chacham. It's talking about your skin shouldn't be seen underneath a tefach. Not clear what that means. And Magen Avram himself says, "Ve'ida ein his haran bazeh." I think the consensus of most poskim is that the parts of your body that are normally covered, that people normally cover, have to remain covered. If it's not normally covered, there's a discussion about wearing sandals, let's say, without socks, right? Normally people wear socks. To wear sandals without socks, is that considered a violation of this? But then again, like I said, the whole makor, the whole source for this is based on big tzaddik who was mishtabeach, was praising himself for something which seems to be not the halacha. We'll go on to Beis. Al Yomar is not the Ian. I'm doing a little Ian just to give you the sources, but this is not the Ian part. We'll go more into one of the halachas. And the Ian part, halacha Beis. Al Yomar hinei b'chadrei chadar miroeni ki hakadosh baruch hu malei chol haaretz kavod. It seems to be an explanation of the first halacha. That a person can say to himself, "Who sees me? I'm in my room by myself. So what if I'm naked or my upper part of my body is naked? Who cares? No, Hashem fills the entire world." Let's go on to Gimel Yedaktek. Not clear what this is from, where the Shulchan Aruch gets these words from. Gimel Yedaktek b'chaluko ilbosh kedarko shali hapocha pnimi lachutz. Seems to be an interesting halacha over here that you have to make sure that your shirt is not inside out. You can't wear clothing where the shirt is inside out. And this is based on a Gemara in Shabbos also. Where the Gemara says, I think on Daf Kuf Yud Daled. 1 second. Let's see this Gemara over here. Kuf Yud Daled, 114 in Shabbos. It says, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, towards the middle of the Dama, Ezu Talmid Chacham shemachzirin lo avida b'tvius ayin. Who's the Talmid Chacham that is on the level where if he recognizes it, right, he says, it's my Aveda, I recognize that we return it to him, even though he doesn't give proper simonim. He's very careful with his shirt to turn it around. So Rashi says over there, he says, if a Talmud Chacham happens by accident, he puts it on his shirt on the inside out, he'll turn it over. Other people wouldn't turn their shirts, if they're inside out, they wouldn't turn their shirts to the normal side. But Talmud Chacham is makbid on this, so he has his Maila, he's a Talmud Chacham, and you can return an Aveda to him without Simonim. Again, there's a halacha that applies to a Talmud Chacham, not necessarily applies to everybody. It's hard to darshan it for that. And secondly, there's other problems with this halacha, is that most people would turn their shirts the right way in, and not just Talmid Chachamim. No one wants to wear a shirt that's inside out. You look funny. So it's a little hard to understand this halacha. Dalid, minal yamin tchila v'lo yiksharenu. This is a famous halacha people have to talk about. Ad heichana, until where do the halachas reach? They even reach to tell you which shoe to put on first. This is the famous halacha, halacha dalid. You should put your right shoe on first, even if you're a lefty. V'lo yiksharenu, and you shouldn't tie it, right? You're wearing sneakers or you're wearing shoes with laces, you shouldn't tie them. Then you put on the left shoe, and then tie the left shoe first. And then you tie the right shoe. The Ramah said, let's say you're wearing loafers or sandals or things that don't have Crocs, that don't have laces. You should put on the right one first. Well, let's continue in halacha hey, because this is a part of this halacha. Halacha hey, when you take off your shoes, you take off the left one first. Now, this is a halacha. All of these seem to be that these are halachas that you have to do them. This is based on a Gemara in Shabbos. The Gemara in Shabbos brings 2 days. This is a brisa that seems to indicate that the right side is more preferable, because when they sprinkle the blood on the kohanim, the kohanim sprinkled on the metzora. They were sprinkled on the bohen yado ayemanis. Also, they're inaugurating the kohanim. They would inaugurate him with the right thumb and the right toe. So you see that right is more important. Rabbi Yochanan says no, the left is more important because you put your tefillin on your left hand, their weak hand. So therefore, the Gemara has 2 answers. Rav Yosef says in the Gemara that you can do whatever you want. We don't know. It's not conclusive which one is more important, the right side or the left side. You can do whichever one you want. Rav Nachman Yitzchak says Yari Shamayim, he should be Makayim both of them. That's what Rabbi Nachman Yitzchak says. He says you can Makayim both of them. Therefore, you have this pshara, this agreement, this way of working it out, resolution. You put on the right shoe first, and you don't tie it. Then you put on the left shoe first and tie it. So you give kedima to the right shoe, to the right, and kedima to the left by tying the left first and putting on the right first. The problem is that the Ramah says is that when there's no tie, then you put on the right first, right? So where does that come from? And also in halacha hey, the Shulchan Aruch says when you take it off, take the left first. So it can't be according to Rav Yosef. Rav Yosef says you could always do whatever you want. According to Rav Nachman Yitzchak, I guess you have to learn that even though we possibly Rav Yosef, first of all, he says only Yarei Shamayim. Again, this is something for Yarei Shamayim. It doesn't mean everyone has to be Yarei Shamayim. Not everyone's on the level of Yarei Shamayim right away. You have to graduate to that level. It's a high level. Even according to him, here when there's no pshara, when there's no ability to have a pshara, where you're wearing Crocs, or you're wearing loafers, so there's no laces. So why should the right come first, and why should you take off the left first? Is that maybe the pshara? Is that what he's saying? The Ramah and the Shulchan Aruch combined to say when you have loafers, you put on the right, and you take it off the left. That's a similar pshara to wearing shoes with laces. You put on the right one first, tie the left one first. Not so clear. The Taz grapples with this. He seems to indicate that really, even Rav Nachman Yitzchak held the right is more kedima, the right is more chashuv, is more important. And when we can do both, we do both. But when you can't do both, you put the right one on first, the right loafer on first. And when you take it off, you give the right chashivas, you take it off last, because taking off last is more chashivas. Anyway, it's curious, is halacha. The Gemara seems to imply, like Rav Yosef, that you can do whatever you want. Even according to Rav Nachman Yitzchak, it's only for Yarei Shamayim, so it's kind of hard to understand again this halacha. Vav, Aser Leilech Dal Bekoma Zakufa. You're not allowed to walk erect. You're not allowed to walk with your head up. I don't know what that means. Now, Mepharshim bring over here, the Bach brings that even Pachos Midalat Amos, even less than Dalat Amos, to walk even less than 6 feet with a Koma Zekufa, walking erect. I don't know how many people are Makayim this. People walk with their heads down. Most people don't walk with their heads down. It seems like an Isser in the Shulchan Aruch to walk Koma Zekufa. The Bach says even Pachos Midalat Amos is coming from Gemara in Masechus Kedusha and Daf Lamed Aleph. Amar Rishon ben Levi also Adam Shalach Ba'ar Amos Koma Zekufa. Shnem Melochal Aras Kavodo. It's Hashem's world. Hashem's honor fills the whole world. So Dalat Amos, the Bach says even less than Dalat Amos. Where does he get that from? Another curiosity. I don't know. When I learned these things originally in Shulchan Aruch, I thought these were for sure things. These were clear in the Gemara. Everyone has to do them. I haven't found one thing here. It's good. Here, Koma Zekufa. I don't know. No one's Makai. Either no one's Makai or everyone's Makai. It's hard to understand. People walk erect. No one walks with their head down. Another halacha in halacha vav, you're not allowed to walk. This is a very prevalent halacha, a very famous halacha. Jews wear yarmulkes; they wear something covering their head. You're not allowed to walk 6 feet. Pachos b'dalat amos, you're allowed to walk maybe without a yarmulke. But dalat amos, this is also right after the next Gemara in Kedusha on Daf Lamed Aleph, where it says, Rav Huna Breder Rav Yeshua lo maskar b'amos gilarush. He himself didn't walk for amos without a head covering. Amar Shechina l'mala meroshi. He said the Shechina is above my head, so therefore I have to cover my head. Now, first of all, the Mishnah Berurah himself, they bring a halacha in Siman Sadi Aleph 91 where we talk about making brachas without a yarmulke. There it says you're not allowed to make a bracha without a yarmulke. So the halacha asked, the halacha is the deeper explanation of the Chaim on the Mishnah Berurah. What do you mean? The Gemara, the halacha in Siman Beis says you're not allowed to even walk Dalat Amos without. Forget about making brachas. Why do you need that? Of course you have to. So the Beis Halacha himself is matarates that this is only lifnim mishura. So then you don't have to actually. There's a chumrah. You don't have to make then you don't have to cover your head while you walk. Only when you make a bracha, then make a din, you have to have a head covering. It's improper to make a bracha without a head covering. But make a din, you don't have to cover your head. You don't have to wear a yarmulke when you walk around. Even when you're outside, that's what it really says. Again, the Gemara here is Rav Huna. Now, even if you say Rav Huna was giving an example of what the halacha should be, the Gemara, there's 2 Gemaras to disprove that. There's a Gemara, we're going to get more into this. I'm going to leave the discussion of this for the Ian part of the share. We're going to delve into more the halacha of covering your head and wearing a yarmulke. Do you have to wear a head or not? There seems to be 2 Gemaras against that. Let's just finish it. Yivdok is talking about here before you daven in the morning. You should check to see if you know to go to the bathroom. This is based on a Gemara that someone who wants to makaba omalchus shlema, he should have a certain order in the morning. He gets up, he should wash his hands, he should check himself, and he should put on his tefillin and say Kriya Shema. Again, not indicating there's actually a halacha. A lot of these lashonos in the Gemara are actually that you have to do them. You should cover your whole body. Like we saw before, your whole body should be covered like those people in Mei Hasharim, that the women, they cover their whole body. You can't walk barefoot, presumably for the same reason, because you're exposing your toes and your feet. This, I don't think he's saying you have to do this, the Ramah is saying, but you should get into the habit of going to the bathroom from the back. In the morning, once at night, because then you don't have to worry about it during the day, getting involved. If you accustom your body to get in a habit of going to the bathroom at certain times, your body naturally gets into that habit, and it won't bother you during the day. You're in the middle of doing something, you won't have to run to the bathroom. You can do it at night and in the morning. Of course, you can't control your body, but if you can get into the habit of doing it, you should do it. This is an eitzah, maybe the only eitzah over here, but I don't know if any of these things are halachas. Stay tuned for Ian, Shulchan Aruch. We're going to discuss wearing a yarmulke. Is there really a chiyuv to wear a yarmulke? See you there. Bye.